All right, mic's on, mic's on. Let me post this. Let me post this short real quick, y'all. I'm about to post this short. Get everybody in here. Let me see. And done. All right. So we got crime time today. Chilling scares. I've been wanting to watch this one. And it was YouTubers that became murderers.
Suzanne Eaton was a 59-year-old American.
Let me widescreen that. Okay, this is gonna be crazy, bro. Adjust the camera. All right.
Scientist who was working as a professor of Suzanne Eaton.
I'm gonna restart it one more time. Okay. Ready? YouTubers that became murderers.
Suzanne Eaton was a 59-year-old American scientist who was working as a professor of molecular biology in Dresden, Germany. A big part of her job at this institute was to travel around the world and hold conferences on the latest developments in her field. In July of 2019, she traveled to the scenic Greek island of Crete for one of these conferences, not knowing that this was going to be her last, and that the person responsible for her end would be caught because of his videos on YouTube. The incident happened on July 2nd, when, after a conference, Suzanne spent time with her peers and played the public piano in the venue's lobby before saying her goodbyes and heading out to her hotel in the afternoon. Sadly, this was the last time anyone saw Suzanne alive. Her coworkers noticed her absence when she didn't show up for the second conference scheduled for 6 p.m. that evening. It wasn't like her to skip events out of the blue. Something wasn't right. A fact that became increasingly clear when over 24 hours passed without anyone hearing from her. So on July 3rd, her colleagues called the police to check on her, hoping she was simply sick or something similar. However, when officers arrived at her hotel room, no one answered the door. They acquired a spare key from the hotel management and went inside, only to find the room completely empty and undisturbed. All of Suzanne's belongings were also still in the room. The only things missing were her running shoes and a set of exercise clothes.
That's already a sign right there. She didn't even come back. Already. You didn't even get to say nothing more, say nothing less. Everything's there but her shoes and her body.
Those who knew her immediately understood what this meant.
She's
You
out.
see, in addition to her academic prowess and piano expertise, Suzanne was also an athlete at heart. She was a double black belt in Taekwondo, and despite her age, loved going on a run every day. Knowing this helped investigators narrow down what might have happened to her. Put simply, she likely went on a run soon after returning to her hotel on July 2nd, and something went wrong after that.
She fought,
She
though.
wasn't super familiar with the area, and to make matters
bet
worse,
she
the
fought
weather
back.
was uncomfortably hot that afternoon. There was a strong possibility she collapsed from the heat or something else along those lines.
Now, prediction. Whenever they find the dude, or when they show him on here, the dude that, got her, I bet he's covered in wounds some way, somehow. Some kind of marks. She probably scratched them, broke a finger, something.
After putting this together, the Crete police immediately dispatched a search and rescue team in the area surrounding her hotel and around popular running trails. Her family even traveled to Crete and put a €50,000 reward for anyone who could help find Suzanne. Unfortunately, Suzanne was nowhere to be found. That is until 5 days later, on July 8th, when two young men were exploring one of the abandoned World War II Nazi bunkers scattered across Crete. Around 200 meters in, one of them noticed a piece of burlap covering something on the ground. They picked it up from one end to see what was underneath, and what they found was the aftermath of one of the most horrific crimes in Crete's recent history. The burlap was covering the bloody remains of Suzanne Eaton. A later autopsy report discovered that Suzanne had several broken ribs, multiple fractures throughout her body, a missing ear, and much more. Whatever happened to her certainly was not an accident. The investigators began searching for clues, and fortunately it didn't take long for them to make their first major breakthrough: a set of car tire tracks leading up to the entrance of the bunker. Analyzing these tracks allowed investigators to find the car responsible for transporting Suzanne's remains to that bunker. It belonged to 27-year-old Yanis Paraskakis, a local sheep
Look at his
farmer.
eyes.
But
Look at his eyes. They look devoid of any type of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. No life in them eyes.
Paraskakis, a local sheep farmer. But when questioned, Giannis feigned ignorance and claimed that him driving through that area on that day was nothing more than a coincidence. He went as far as to say that he didn't even know about the existence of that bunker, a lie that would eventually lead to his arrest. You see, Giannis had a dream to become a successful YouTuber. He started a channel with his own name in 2012 and began posting videos. However, if you go to his channel today, all you'll find are 3 videos of him performing an ancient Chinese martial art and meditation technique called Qigong. That's because a couple days before Suzanne's body was discovered, Giannis deleted every other video on his channel. And once authorities recovered some of these deleted videos, it became clear why.
The bunker.
You see, most of these deleted videos involved Giannis exploring abandoned World War II bunkers, including the one where Suzanne's remains were discovered. This contradiction gave the authorities the go-ahead to formally arrest him on July 15. It also allowed them to investigate him further, and the evidence they discovered was overwhelming.
Put him under
As
the
it turned
jail.
out, the land where this bunker was located was owned by Giannis's family. Investigators also found traces of Suzanne's blood in his car's trunk. When confronted with this evidence, Giannis cracked and told the whole story. According to him, he saw Suzanne running down the road and something came over him. He hit her with his car twice before putting her in his car, driving to the bunker, and ending her life there. He later changed his story to where he was compelled to commit this crime by a demon. Unfortunately for him, the jury didn't buy this one bit and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 2020.
He's the demon.
Now, this should have been the end of Giannis' story, but from what I've seen, there's more to his actions than just this one crime he was convicted of. The thing is, Giannis presented his vile act as a crime of opportunity, something he did completely out of nowhere. However, there's evidence to suggest that Giannis might be a full-blown serial killer. For instance, he was apparently detained by the police twice before, once for arson and once for animal cruelty, both of which are well-known early behaviors of serial killers. After his arrest, several other women also came forward, testifying that he had tried to run them over with his car as well in the past. So, Suzanne was more than likely not his first victim. However, the most solid evidence against Giannis is in one of the deleted videos he uploaded to YouTube. In it, we can see him showing some very human-looking bones scattered throughout the same bunker Suzanne was discovered in. These bones were never discovered by the authorities, suggesting they might have been removed by Giannis to hide evidence. But what makes this truly disturbing is what his friend says at one point in the same video.
I bet he said something like, "You could probably get away with murder in here. Or you can hide a body in here. There are bones everywhere. Nobody would notice."
Translates into, "Is this where you left that old guy?"
Oh my
insinuating
God,
that Giannis had
bro.
disposed of one of his previous victims in the same bunker before. And if that is the case, one can only wonder how many other people Giannis has killed over the years. Simply Manic 6075 was a YouTube channel owned and operated by 24-year-old Samantha Wolford. She lived in the small community of Monticello, Texas with her husband Ernest Lee Ibarra, aka Ernie, and their 5 children. She usually made videos about her day-to-day life and other random topics. Her story began in 2008 when she was at the lowest point of her life. She'd recently become the single mother of a pair of twins and had no love interest in her life. That's when she met Ernie at a local tattoo shop, and the two hit it off right from the get-go, eventually getting in a relationship and starting a family together.
Okay.
In one of her videos, Samantha described the day she met Ernie as the happiest day of her life.
That's
Together,
good.
they were blessed with 3 more children, including 1 more pair of twins. Raising 5
What? Bro. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't men control the gender? She ran into 2 men that produced twins. Depending on who you are, that's a blessing or a curse.
5 kids was a challenge, but Ernie made it work by taking
And
a
5
second job in
kids.
pizza delivery. So, while they had endured tough times together, Samantha, Ernie, and their 5 children appeared to be the perfect loving family. However, while being a stay-at-home mother was all she could do at the time, Samantha still had a dream of becoming a famous actress one day.
I've always wanted to be an actress. I think it is so much fun. I've been extras in movies. I've had small parts in like short films. It is so much fun and it is so beautiful. It is one of the most amazing forms of art ever to be able to express yourself that way. think it's amazing.
So, in October 2010, she created her YouTube channel and started posting videos, hoping to become a popular YouTuber and fulfill her dream on the internet
I feel
instead.
that.
And things were going surprisingly okay in the beginning. Samantha would post new videos whenever she had something new to say. And while most of her videos struggled to get past 100 views at the time, the few viewers she had were enough to keep her going. But as time passed on, her passion for making videos turned into an obsession. She started spending more of her time on making videos than her family, putting even more pressure on an already stressed out Ernie. Around 2014, she also started accusing Ernie of hurting her in her videos, hinting at just
And she got 5 kids. She's got 5 kids, bro.
how bad their relationship was going. But then, after posting a seemingly random video in March of 2014, Samantha mysteriously vanished from the internet. Maybe she lost interest in YouTube or just wanted to focus on her family again. No one knew exactly why she quit so abruptly. Then, on the 20th of February 2015, viewers finally received the update they were waiting for. Unfortunately, it was far more tragic than anyone could have imagined. It started with the Texas police receiving a call from one of Samantha's aunts asking them to save her niece's life.
Taos County 911, what's your emergency?
I have a home invasion. My niece is tied up. I am at the verge of untying my niece at this particular moment.
Okay, she's tied up
She is tied up and gagged.
and gagged. Is that what you
Yes,
said?
ma'am.
Is there anybody else there?
Where are the kids?
The kids?
We have 5 small infants asleep.
Apparently, 3 masked men broke into their home in the middle of the night and attacked the couple while they were asleep. The intruders then tied Samantha in her bedroom and after hitting him with a gun a few times, kidnapped Ernie. Samantha somehow managed to get her ties loose enough to call her aunt, who then contacted the police after arriving at Samantha's home herself.
It's fishy, fishy. How are you the only one to break free? And why would they even take him? You know what I'm saying?
By the time officers arrived, Samantha's aunt had set her free from the restraints. The kids were fortunately safe as well. However, what made this whole situation strange was that the intruders didn't take anything else from their home besides Ernie. And from the people who knew him personally, Ernie wasn't the type of guy to make enemies with dangerous people. Put simply, investigators sensed something fishy with the whole situation. But all that paled in comparison to the main objective, which was to save Ernie as soon as possible. Unfortunately, Samantha didn't know anything that could give investigators their first clue. With no other option, the officers took Samantha to the station for further questioning, hoping to extract any useful information they could from her. But what none of them expected was that
He's literally the only suspect in this whole thing.
Samantha would change up her story completely after entering the interrogation room. Where before she didn't know anything about the assailants, now she had the name of a potential suspect, John Rebel. As Samantha's story goes, she was talking to her friend
They go to
about
fake
Ernie's
tears.
supposed attacks on Samantha, when suddenly a man with the pseudonym John Rebel overheard their conversation and started talking about how a man shouldn't treat a woman that way and that he was going to handle the situation. Well, as it turned out, the name John Rebel actually belonged to someone, a man named Jonathan Sanford. The police found and arrested John not long after Samantha gave out his name, right alongside his 2 accomplices, Jose Ponce and Octavius Rhymes.
Bro, she sold out. She just tried to ruin 4 lives. Well, they didn't ruin their own lives, like the 3 of them kidnapping old boy. But she literally destroyed 4 lives. Actually, 9, because she got 5 kids. One person.
Surprisingly, Jonathan put up little to no resistance and immediately confessed to kidnapping Ernie. He also confirmed the worst possible outcome, that by the time the police got involved, Ernie was
He's
already
dead.
dead. The 3 took him to a secluded forest and executed him with 1 shot to the back of his head. However, even after learning all this, one question remained. Why? Why would 3 men who didn't even know Ernie kidnap him from his home like that?
What the
Every answer to
fuck?
this question pointed back to Samantha, who kept denying any involvement. Even if the investigators ignored her suddenly remembering the perpetrator's name, there were several other suspicious aspects to her story. Like, how was she able to untie herself enough to call her aunt?
I said that.
Why didn't any
How? How are you that? What are you, like a Girl Scout? Like, I don't know, bro. If you were tied up tight and them kids were tied up, or, you know, why did they even spare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they just take him, kill him, and then not take none?
Of her neighbors hear the break-in. And why were the kids all sleeping in the same room when usually they're scattered throughout the house? It wasn't long before investigators uncovered undeniable evidence of her direct involvement. This included instruction messages she sent to Octavius when the officers were trying to call Ernie's phone, which he had on him. These read, "Kill his phone, shut that down, ditch phone, move." There was no doubt about it at this point. Samantha was in colluding with her husband's killers. And as the investigation went on, the real story came out as well. Samantha had apparently become addicted to the idea of becoming a famous YouTuber, and her neglect of the kids became a constant source of fighting between the couple. But instead of resolving the issue like a responsible adult, Samantha colluded with her friend's boyfriend to hatch a cartoonishly evil scheme to get rid of Ernie. They first wanted to plant hard drugs in his car and get him arrested, but later made the heartless decision that taking his life would be much easier. There's also a chance that Samantha went with the murder plan because it would have brought her more attention on YouTube. She was eventually sentenced to 149 years in prison for killing her own husband, leaving her 5 children completely orphaned in the process.
Yeah, you famous now. Just none of those views going to your channel.
Diana Lovejoy was a successful technical writer living in the town of Carlsbad, California with her husband Greg Mulvihill. However, while her corporate job paid the bills, Diana's true passion was becoming a triathlon athlete and documenting her journey on video, resulting in her eventually starting her own fitness blog called Lovejoy Fitness and a YouTube channel by the name of Heavy DJ.
Hell yeah.
She started this channel all the way back in 2008 and over the years used it to document various parts of her life. From meeting her parents after a long time to going scuba diving with her husband. At one point, she even tried to become a cooking show host of sorts.
You gotta try anything, dog.
Unfortunately, her channel never really
try
took
everything.
off, forcing her to eventually cut her losses and move on with her life in March of 2012. Or at least that's what it looked like from
Hey, look. If you're gonna quit, never quit it completely. Just put it on hold. Okay? If you quit, that next video could have been the one that does it for you. I'm telling you.
the outside. In reality,
That's my
Diana's
fear,
reason for
regret.
abandoning her YouTube channel was kind of wholesome. You see, Diana and Greg had been trying for a baby for years by this point. Tragically, Diana had suffered 8 different miscarriages and was quickly losing hope. But then in September of 2012, the two were blessed with a perfectly healthy baby boy, marking an end to their struggle. However, what should have been a moment of celebration started a downward spiral of lies and betrayals, eventually culminating in an assassination attempt.
On who? What could have possibly went wrong? If she tried 8 times for a kid and finally get it? What could have possibly triggered this?
Things started going
Talk to
downhill
me.
when just a few months after the birth of their son, Greg lost his job, leaving Diana as the sole breadwinner.
Shit.
The stress of the previous miscarriages, combined with the crushing weight of having to support a family in an extremely expensive city all on her own, spelled disaster for their marriage. It wasn't long before the two were constantly fighting with each other. Things escalated even further on July 9, 2014, when Greg returned home only to see a police officer waiting for him at the door. The officer explained that Greg
No.
wasn't allowed to enter his own home.
No. She had like postpartum, huh?
Because, as it turned out, Diana had accused him of attacking both her and their son. What followed was a nearly 2-year-long divorce mediation, during which the investigators found no evidence supporting Diana's accusations, allowing Greg to get a 50-50 custody of their son.
Okay,
Diana
oh,
was
thank
also
God.
ordered to pay
Oh, thank God. I thought the police were there to arrest him for her framing him for killing the kid.
$120,000 as a part of their divorce settlement in late 2015. But before the divorce could be finalized, Greg received a phone call from an anonymous number that changed everything. The voice on the other end claimed to be a private investigator Diana had hired recently. And according to this investigator, he already had solid proof of the attack claims Diana had made against Greg. But for some unknown reason, he wanted to help Greg win the case, so he claimed to have left the documents taped to a power pole located on a small hiking trail near Greg's home. Greg naturally found this whole thing pretty suspicious and decided to take one of his friends with him to the pole on the night of September 4th, 2016. Sadly, despite his suspicions, he failed to grasp the true intentions of the strangely helpful private detective.
Hello, this is 911.
Yeah. My friend has just been shot.
Do you know who shot him?
There's a guy lying down like a sniper.
A sniper?
What
Did you
the
see him at
fuck?
all?
Briefly, we saw the gun, and he shot at us like 6 or 7 times.
When Greg reached the pole, a sniper opened fire on him, shooting him clean through the chest. Fortunately, the bullet missed his heart by mere inches, giving him a second chance at life. By the time the police arrived, the shooter had already fled the crime scene. But
Dude,
a
he's a
quick
G.
survey of the area allowed the investigators to uncover a pair of towels the shooter left behind. Running a DNA test on these towels led to a man named Weldon McDavid, Diana's shooting instructor. Weldon tried to deny any involvement at first, but the evidence against him was overwhelming, as after a thorough search, investigators were able to find another set of the same towels at Diana's place as well. They had also received CCTV footage of Diana buying the burner phone Weldon later used to lure Greg into the secluded area.
I'm guessing he used that towel to lay down and post up. And then left it there, bro. You had DNA all over that, bro. People dumb, dude. Like, dumber. You're dumb for doing her dirty deed and dumb for getting caught. You dumb.
Most importantly, investigators also found the gun Weldon used on Greg, hidden in the rafters of his garage. By this point, it was clear that Diana was the one who wanted to get rid of Greg, likely to avoid paying the divorce settlement and keep full custody of her son. Diana and Weldon were arrested for the attempted assassination on Greg Mulvihill and tried for their crimes in November 2017. Both were found guilty, with Diana sentenced to 26 years to life and Weldon to a harsher 50 years to life. The only silver lining in this entire case is that Greg was able to make a full recovery and is now living with his son.
Nah, bro, he's never gonna have a full recovery. Full recovery from, not even from the physical damage, bro. He's got probably some type of muscular internal damage that is never gonna be, he's never gonna be the same, especially mentally.
The Gunnar Runar 87 channel on YouTube seems
Gunnar.
oddly wholesome at first glance. It's owned by an Icelandic boy named Gunnar Runar Sigthorsson and contains a single 3.5-minute video of him confessing his feelings to the girl he loves. The title translates to
tough.
English as My Confession to Hildur.
That's
In
tough.
it, he says things like,
Hún án efa sérstakasta manneskja sem ég nokkuð tímann hitt. Ég verð svo ótrúlega glaður bara að vera nálægt henni. Það þarf ekki meira. Og þetta ætlað þér því að ég held sig orðinn ástfanginn af þér.
However, this seemingly heartfelt love letter turned out to be the key to solving one of the most horrific crimes in recent Icelandic history. And it all led back to Gunnar and the troubled life he had as a child. You see, Gunnar didn't have a mother growing up, resulting in him getting extremely close with his father. However, on the night of September 20th, 1996, when Gunnar was just 9 years old, his father decided to end it all using a gun. What made this already messed up situation even worse was the fact that Gunnar was in the room with his father and witnessed everything.
What?
Unsurprisingly, this took a heavy toll on Gunnar's mental health. He withdrew from the world and refused to accept his father's death as reality. Everything seemed hopeless for Gunnar. That is until primary school, when he met a girl named Hildur and instantly became infatuated with her. He'd admired her throughout school and into adulthood, but never found the courage to make a move, fearing
Let me say something though. If she leaves him, because he is not healed from his mom and his dad, because he's denying his dad's death, or he can't accept it. And if she leaves him as well, bro, that's raps. That's school shooter type. That's raps.
he'd lose his only close friend. However, things changed in 2009 when Hildur got engaged to a man named Hannes. This gave Gunnar the push to do something about his feelings. But given his shy personality, he still couldn't confront Hildur directly. So, in March of 2009, he created a YouTube channel and uploaded his confession on there. Hildur never reciprocated his feelings, but the two remained friends. Even Hannes, Hildur's now husband, didn't seem to mind Gunnar's company. something he likely regretted deeply just a year later.
he
It all
don't-
went down on the 14th of August 2010. Hilder was invited to a party that Gunnar was attending as well. But things got a bit out of hand and Hilder ended up drinking too much and passing out. Given their closeness, the task of getting her home safely was handed to Gunnar. But instead of dropping her off at Hannes' house like he should have, Gunnar took her to his own home. By the time Hilder woke up, it was already morning. She was understandably furious with Gunnar and immediately called one of her friends to drive her home. But nothing could have prepared Hilder for the horrific scene she witnessed on the other side of her front door. Her husband Hannes was lying on the top of the staircase near their bedroom, submerged in a pool of his own blood. She ran outside and called the authorities. Sadly, it was already too late.
Wait, how did he
Hannes had
get there?
received over 20 stab wounds on his body, from his arms and legs to the back of his neck, and was long dead by the time Hilder found him. Given his condition, his death was ruled a homicide and investigators wasted no time in looking for the killer. And while they initially suspected one of his business rivals of committing this horrific crime, it didn't take long for investigators to find Gunnar's video confession to Hilder and bring him in for questioning. Gunnar denied knowing anything about it and was eventually let go due to lack of evidence. Fortunately,
What?
not all hope was lost, because not long after that, investigators found a bloody shoe print next to Hannes' bed. Looking deeper into this print revealed that it belonged to a pair of limited edition Adidas shoes. At the time, there were only 18 of these specific shoes in all of Iceland.
18 and he had
Gunnar
a
just so
pair?
happened to own one of these pairs. This was enough evidence to detain him once again. This also gave investigators the authority to do a thorough search of his belongings, resulting in them finding residue of Hannes' blood on his shoes, as well as in his car. Once presented with this evidence, Gunnar confessed to the murder. He also revealed that he'd been planning it for months, and even shoplifted the items he intended to use to avoid purchase records linking back to him. And while he didn't admit to it, Hilder also suspected him of spiking her drink that night, since she usually never passed out like that. After committing the crime, he also drove to a nearby pier and dumped items used in the crime into the sea to get rid of any evidence. It was a well
How did
thought
they
out
know that?
plan, since he was only caught because the garbage bag he used to hide his shoe prints tore open as he walked. As for his motive, it was just as everyone had expected, with him making it clear during the investigation, stating, "I loved Hilder. She was supposed to be with me. She was not supposed to be with him." Surprisingly,
hell no.
he was found not guilty during his first trial on March 1, 2011 by reason of insanity stemming from his messed up
Hell
childhood. However,
No,
the prosecution
what? How is that a reason to let someone off? You just killed somebody. No, I don't care, bro. He knew right from wrong. I don't care.
argued that he was fully aware of his actions and escalated the case to the Supreme Court of Iceland. Gunnar was found guilty on this second trial and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. This was already lenient given the
God, so help me, man. Why are people getting away with these light sentences for ruining lives?
brutality of his crime, yet he ended up serving only half of that sentence as well. He was released under supervision in July
my
2019
God.
and now works at a local warehouse.
He served 8 years? No way. He only did 8 years? There's no fucking way. Yep. Stupid, bro. People are just disgusting. Okay. It's a good channel. Chilling scares. That's nuts, dude. I never thought about that. I did see some other videos about like Twitch streamers that got caught, but let's go check out JJK's trailers. All right. Damn, that is bright. All right, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 official. Okay, who we got here? Okay. We got Maki, Yuta, Choso, Megumi, Yuji. I forgot her name. Emotionless, bro. I can't wait to see that. after watching Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, like, how long ago was Zero? Zero had to been what? I'm a guess. Wasn't Zero like 3 years ago? No? Uzumaki. Oh my god. This scene is going to be insane. This scene right here. This is probably going to be the best thing of this whole season. Boy, look at Yuji, stone cold. Look at this. Look at this. He's chilled, bro. He's locked in. He's got his emotions under control. I'm so ready, bro. 2026? When? When? I didn't go back far enough. Okay, January. Alright. Okay. We can do that. Okay, and then they're putting these two together. What, probably the first 2 episodes of the Culling Games, right? The actual release scheduled for Friday, November 7th, 2025. Program release to be announced. Shibuya Incident and the Culling Games begins. Okay, all right, yeah. So probably the first 2 episodes of season 3, and then the whole Shibuya Incident. You know what? I feel like they're trying to do a redo for how bad it was released to the public for the episodes. You know, all the stuff that was going on with Mappa. So. Yeah, this shit was crazy in the manga. This arc was crazy in the manga. I'm ready for it, though. I'm ready for it. Alright. Like the video. IGN. Subscribe. There we go. I usually didn't subscribe to IGN because they just be... I got tired of seeing them rate video games like all high ratings whenever they didn't even deserve it. They were just bought out. Alright, I think we got time for one more video. We're gonna do CJ the Champ. I haven't watched one of his videos in a minute. We're gonna get in on the nonchalant trials of Sung Jin Woo.
Finally, after many trials and errors, an entire video corrupting on a man, leading to the worst crash out he's ever had in his life, to Rampage Jacksoning his f***ing door and redoing an entire video from scratch. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen,
I feel your pain,
we
bro.
are finally back after experiencing the worst technical difficulty I've ever experienced. Still don't know how that happened. But oh boy, another day, another trial for one of the most anticipated characters ever.
I've been waiting.
People been asking me to do a video on this motherfucker for ages. Even before the anime came out. They just wanted straight manhwa panels. But it is none other than the serial ore farming E-rank
Every episode.
Smurf of doom, Mr.
Every
Sung
episode.
Jin Woo. So prepare yourself to watch this motherfucker watch somebody else get their ass beat when he knows damn well he can one-shot the nigga. Ain't even gonna lie to y'all, every time he does this shit, I'm adding a charge because what the f, bro? So, without further ado, the Jin Woo trials.
Jinu. Oh, let me move myself out the way real quick.
Yeah, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So before we actually dive into Exhibit A, let's get a little context on Mr. Jin Woo here. So, in the world of solo leveling, Earth turned into a action RPG. These things called gates
Dragon.
started
What is
opening
that?
up in the
Dragon
world,
Hunter.
and inside of those gates were your typical dungeons. Now, when this happened, there were humans who awakened abilities, and they were called hunters. Now, these hunters had a ranking system for how strong you were. S rank to E rank. S being the cream of the crop, highest ranked niggas in the game. These are your one above alls, radiants, challengers, and basically any other high ass rank in any other game. These niggas don't touch grass in showers. Never heard of them. Clear example, look at fine shit right here. She always gotta have a handkerchief because she cannot bear the smell of all these sweaty ass niggas.
I don't know who it is, but somebody smell like shit.
And then it goes from A rank to B, C, D, and E. And Jin Woo was a fucking
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
This nigga was trash. He sucked! Hot ass, buns. And what made it worse, he was a DPS. So that's how you know he really was trash. And to make it even more worse, in this world, once you get a rank, you're stuck there. There's no leveling up. You are hard stuck. So this man, Jin,
That is so ass too. Like you get an examination for your power, and whatever it shows you, that's where you're at. You cannot improve. There's no way. Like I don't know if I could have done what he did.
was hard stuck
tried.
bronze 3, and he was also known as the world's weakest hunter. Niggas had a sigh of relief when they saw him at raids because they was like, oh, Jin Woo's here? Shit, this gonna be a walk in the park, my nigga. This nigga even had his little E-dater, his pocket healer. Fine shit #1 because that's
She
what I'm
was
gonna call it, 'cause
strong,
I don't
too.
know if her name. She out here having to heal this nigga 24/7 because he's struggling with a fucking goblin. She looking at this nigga every time like, Jin Woo, you gotta stop this shit. I'm having to pocket your scrub ass every fucking raid. And the reason why bro was even doing this in the first place was because his mama was in a coma. This
He
nigga
had
was
to.
dealt one of the worst hands at life I've ever seen. Nigga was a trash ass hunter, mama in a coma, and his dad went to go get fucking milk. Backstory so tragic you would think Oda wrote this shit. Now I'm gonna speedrun how everything changed for this man and how he had the greatest glow up I've ever seen. Him and his party found a secret
All
dungeon.
glaze.
They go into a big old room with some big old statues. Little do they know these statues
One of the best scenes, honestly. This should have been episode 1. This was one of the best scenes in the whole season.
are alive and they start blicking everybody. People getting incinerated to the bone,
Misted him.
stepping on bitches, Aaron Yeager style, getting split in half and Swiss cheese like Frieza. This was brutal. And Jin Woo decided to sacrifice himself so everybody could escape, leading to him getting jumped by all the statues and dying like the most brutal way ever. But luckily for Jin Woo, this was all a test by the mysterious system. And Jin Woo gets a second chance at life as a player. And as a player, he has the ability to level up. He could finally get out of bronze. He was not destined to be a trash ass nigga anymore. He turned in to Himothy. Bro started going into secret dungeons, clearing them solo. He didn't need a pocket heal no more. He became competent. He could one-shot bosses whole parties would struggle to beat. The system made him do the exact workout as Saitama. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run.
Good
Only difference
callback.
is a nigga ain't go bald. And he ended up building a Greek god physique in like days. So now that we got all the
If solo leveling, I don't know what came out first, but if solo leveling came out after One Punch Man, they did it all for the purpose of building a character like Saitama without him losing his hair. Bro,
context out the way, let's finally dive into Exhibit A, Attack of the Smurf. This man Jin Woo caught some bodies. And I'm not talking about no regular dungeon bosses. Talking about actual human bodies. He was booming niggas. And our first example of this is this bum ass 6-stack. These scheming ass niggas was trying to set our boy up. You see, you need at least 8 people
They
to
got some
raid the
terrible
gate.
luck.
So they needed 2 fills. So they got Jin Woo and this trust fund bum ass. I got all this gear for nothing. Nepo baby Jinho. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I
daddy's
fuck with
money.
bro, but you can't tell me this nigga ain't the definition of I got all the best fancy new equipment just to still be ass. Like, this nigga sucks. But he's got some of the best equipment on the market. If this don't screams daddy's money, I don't know what to tell you. Now, when Jinwoo met up with this six stack, he was introduced to Mr. Dong-suk, and he explained to Jinwoo, nice to meet you, man. My name is Hwang Dong-suk. All we need you to do is sign this contract, and we'll be on our way. Now,
Sign your
Jinwoo
life
picked
away.
up on these guys' game pretty easily. First off, they made him sign an NDA, which is already sketchy as hell. Secondly, they only asked him to carry the bags because he's an E-rank. And last but not least, the biggest thing that threw him off, their team comp consisted of 3 tanks and 3 DPS. Not a single healer in sight. And bro told him, oh, don't worry, we do all of our raids with no healer.
I beg your pardon?
And this is when Jinwoo knew. 4 C ranks and 2 D ranks. That's equivalent to 4 golds and 2 silvers. And not a single healer in sight. GG no heals, this shit is cooked. So later on, they enter the dungeon, and Jinwoo is just there carrying the bags and letting them do all the work. So they end up making it to the boss's lair, and they hit the jackpot because the whole place is covered in mana crystals. These boys are about to make a fortune. So this is when the scheming 6-stack starts to enact their plan. You see, the boss of this dungeon is asleep, and they needed to be asleep to mine all the crystals, because if the boss dies, the gate closes. So Dong-suk told old boy right here, hey man, where's the gear? And bro says, man, sorry boss, I left it outside. Jinwoo and Jinho, you guys stay here and look after the score, and we're gonna go get the mining equipment, capiche? Huh? So they leave, right? And guess what they do? They blow up the entrance to the boss's lair, leaving them trapped in there. So yeah, this 6-stack is a
Like, I understand that Jinwoo understood what was going on, but I would have never agreed to that. Like, y'all are the strongest ones in this whole squad, without knowing about Jinwoo, right? Why wouldn't I go back and get all the stuff? Why don't y'all stay here? Like that, bro, what? Jinwoo knew, bro. And he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna kill these fools later, you know, whatever, just for the plot.
bunch of con men crooks because their actual plan was to trap them in there and wake the boss up with the explosion so the boss can then eat them and go to sleep after a good meal. And this would allow them to come in and mine all those crystals. So they literally use these boys as bait. These are some crooked ass niggas. But oh, how little did they know that the E rank that they had holding their bags was a Smurf of Doom. Jinwoo cooks this spider in a minute tops. Like, dog, I hate spiders, but this classifies as animal abuse. Look at what he's doing to the thing. He's butchering that nigga. And old trust fund baby looking at bro
He stabbed
like,
all
what
his
the
eyes out.
fuck? Who is this demon on my team? He just cooked the boss by himself. Bro was so flabbergasted, he picked up the bags and said, hey, bro, let me carry your shit. You're the boss, right? You need some water, my nigga? I know you're tired. Sure. Yeah, drink it all up, boss. And just off of this moment, this rich motherfucker became his biggest glazer. So then later on, the scheming six stack come back. And they were surprised the boss is dead. So they thought Jinho killed it because he has all this expensive gear. So bro told him, kill Jinwoo and we'll let you live. But Jinho was like, nah, I ain't fighting him. He might fuck around, kill me before he kill y'all. So they get ready to jump old boy. And while they're walking towards him, Jinwoo gets the urgent quest. And the system tells this man, kill these niggas. All 6 of them, boom these bums. So this mage ends up blasting Jinwoo and sends bro into the wall. But that attack was straight futile. That shit just tickled the nigga. Bro got up and was like, thank you for that. I had this crook in my back for like a month, but that little massage that you just gave me finally fixed it. So allow me to return the favor. So they looking at bro like, what the fuck? This guy delusional? So the ginger right here walked up to Jinwoo and was like, let me give you a reality check, man. You're a bum ass
It's
E-rank,
gone.
bronze 3. What the fuck you gonna do to us, huh?
Let it roll.
With no emotion, just
Like butter.
decapitates this man. Niggas is shocked. They like, Nani? How the hell did an E-rank just kill a D-rank? And Hwang Dong-suk knew, oh my god, this isn't an E-rank. This is a Smurf of Doom. So they all try to jump him, but it is no use. Look at this, he flash steps, bro, and just shoves a dagger in his neck. Oh boy comes in with the swing, misses, knife to the gut. And he deserves this shit too for rocking that piece of broccoli on his head. You know what made these dudes' deaths even worse? They did not die off of just that one stab. He ended up poisoning these niggas, making them suffer before he finally cut them down.
Double kill.
Now next up, look at this bum ass nigga with the gun. Can't aim for shit. And he like,
Nigga, what the fuck is this bullshit?
so Jinwoo easily kills his bum ass. And then look at the mage. He tries to hit Bo with a fireball. Instant flash step. And takes a knife to the booty hole. Pause.
Kill.
Nigga stabbed him in his ass. You could tell by the way he fell. And just off of that, this man that caused 5 bodies, but he wasn't done. Because he still had to deal with
And this
old
dude
boy.
thought he
And
could
was
just
mad as hell. He was like,
buff.
you fucking smurf. So you think you're cool, huh? Beating on bum-ass D and C ranks. Well, little do you know, those guys were just holding me back. Because I know damn well I'm a higher rank than I should be. So bro tries to attack him, but Wu Speed blitzes him and tells him, nah, buddy, you're right.
He hit him with that Sukuna.
Just another fucking scrub stuck in Elo hell. Boom! Face plants this bum! And at this point in time, old boy started rethinking his whole life. He even started begging the bro like, oh, hear me out, bro. Listen, we could be a duo queue of hell. Me, you, we'll be unstoppable.
You are a worthless, bitch-ass nigga. Because what are you here for? To worship me? Kill yourself.
Please hard carry me. I swear to God, out.
Quintuple kill.
This man just wiped the whole
Yeah.
team, dropped off all 6 of them, sent them back to the lobby. But these were not the only human bodies Wu called oh no. Because the next
was
victim
more.
on this man's list was Mr. Taeshik Kong.
The
And I ain't gonna lie,
B-rank.
this is another motherfucker that had it coming. So how this happened?
He's
Jin
almost
Woo
an
was
A.
on a raid with his old crew,
B-rank.
with old nigga and fine shit. And during this raid, they had some prisoners with them that were gonna help because it'll shed some time off of their sentencing. And the supervisor of these prisoners was Taeshik Kong. But Mr. Taeshik was not here to supervise. Oh no, this man was here to fulfill a bounty. You see, this man got an offer from
He's
a
a murderer,
father
bro.
whose daughter was
And
assaulted by
assassin.
these 3 prisoners. And the daughter ended up booming herself. Then shortly after that, the mother was hospitalized after the shock. Some pretty terrible shit. So the father paid Taeshik to kill these dudes. And that's what he did. He boomed them, which is reasonable. They deserved it. However, what was not deserved is what happened to these 2. Because sadly for them, they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They saw old boy boom these niggas. So guess what this maniac did? He kills old boy and the old nigga. Then when Jin Woo and everybody else found the bodies, this maniac tried to sneak them until Jin Woo stopped him at the last second. And just look at this crackhead talking like, oh yeah, I love the thrill of the kill. So what should I do first? Should I dive your backline and kill your healer? I mean, you're not gonna protect a poor bitch. And my God, this is Jin Woo's first offense of letting somebody get they ass whooped when he can clearly whoop that nigga's ass. So Unk told Jin Woo, hold on there, young player. Let the OG handle this one now. Now, Kang was a B-rank hunter, and Unk
Almost
was a
A.
C-rank hunter. And also, you can't forget, Unk has 1 arm. And before one of y'all say, but usually, characters with 1 arm are usually strong. Hey, guess what? Not everybody
here.
is built like Shanks. This is just a regular nigga with 1 arm. So Woo, why the fuck did you let Unk fight this nigga? Why? So you could read your opponent? So you could download him to beat him later? Like, nigga, you could download his ass while fighting him. But nah, you decided to let Unk get that ass whooped.
Bad.
You got fine shit over here falling to her knees, panicking for her lifeline. Oh my God, we're gonna die. You literally let this nigga get hit by a judgment cut. Nigga popping off, blood to keep Virgil. So when OG was about to die, Jin Woo finally decided to save this man.
Aura walk.
But I don't care. Too
He
little,
aura
too late,
walked
bro.
in there.
Hit that nigga with the Jin Woo special. Watching this nigga get his ass beat just so you could pull up cold as shit. King serial aura farmer, bro. Now, Taeshik Kong wasn't an idiot like the 6-tag. This man knew off the rip. He rank my ass. You're smurfing like a motherfucker. You know you can get reported for this shit, right? Now, this
You worried about what he doing, bro? Just killed he probably killed like 20 people in these damn dungeons.
This fight for Jin Woo was a mirror match of hell because both of them have the same dual blade dagger build. So at the end of the day, this is an ego off. The person who wins this fight is just better. So these boys start to dance and everything is just straight equal. Equal speed, equal technique, equal power. Typical things that you're gonna see in a mirror match. But everything changed when Jin Woo got that notification and the system said once again, lock the f in and boom this nigga or I'm stopping your heart. So this man started hitting the Goku hop, loosening up the bones and muscles to whoop this nigga ass. So
If you was watching the channel, we knew this too. We spotted that.
Jinwoo blitzes bro at the speed of sound and lands a cut under his left eye. And that nigga Taeshik was stunned. He was like, holy shit, was this motherfucker just warming up? Indeed he was. And that cut that he landed poisoned the left side of bro's face because Jinwoo's daggers have that poison debuff. But it was just gonna get worse for bro from here. Jinwoo started blitzing the hell out of bro, started putting him on his toes. But Taeshik ends up using his passive ability, making him go invisible. And he ends up slicing Woo in the ankles. I know that had to be painful. If you've ever been hit in the ankle by a razor scooter, up the pain level by 10, and that's the hit that Jinwoo just took. And that man Taeshik was talking shit. He was saying, yeah, it hurt, don't it, fuck nigga? Go on, call out to your healer. Go to your back line and get some heals like the bitch you are. But Jinwoo just looked at bro dead in the eyes and told him,
I got the system. He just straight up healed that shit. I bet he was so confused. I'd probably tell him straight up, like, right as soon as he get that one lick in, I'd be like, watch this. It's gone.
Born again!
like, bro, just look at his face, man. He knew it was over. Bro can heal himself. And he has a spare healer in his backline. It's over. At this point, just vote to surrender, my nigga. Just get it over with. So it was all over. Jinwoo activated that murderous intent. This man emitted so much of his aura. It invaded this man's psyche. And
this dude used hockey. Hey, Jinwoo used Conqueror's hockey on this man.
Before he knew it, he had a dagger shoved in his heart. And all he saw before the lights went out was this man Woo ore farming over his body. I don't know what's worse, getting fucking teabagged or a motherfucker ore farming over my dead body. But with that being said, Taeshik Kong became the 7th victim to be Swiss cheesed by the Smurf of Doom, the Jinwoo trials.
Definitely last one is going to be when he just watched that A rank just get bounced off the ground and the ceiling like a ball when they entered that throne room.
Y'all right, ladies and gentlemen. Exhibit B, scrapping with a Souls boss. Now, this man Jinwoo is not new to fighting crazy-ass dungeon bosses. I mean, this is the same dude who fought and killed a Cerberus. This man killed Hades' 3-headed dog and lived to tell the tale. That is insane. But there was one boss that put so much belt to ass on this nigga. It low-key made him rethink.
Igris was the prosecutor in this whole thing. Igris is the prosecutor in Jinwoo's trial right now, and he was whooping his ass.
This hunting shit, and it was none other than the 7-foot big-bodied Igris the Blood Red. Motherfucker looked like he just jumped out of Dark Souls 3. Had this man Jinwoo sweating bullets off the rip. And this was the ultimate test for Jinwoo. Igris looked at bro and said, "Are you a real nigga, or are you a phony nigga?"
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fuck, nigga.
So Igris speed blitzes Jinwoo, and just from the first strike, bro destroyed a whole pillar. He was not playing with bro. Then he strikes again, and Jinwoo blocked it. But that strike had so much force, it sends him across the throne room, and 1 second later, he's already on his ass. Didn't even give this man a chance to breathe. And by God, Jinwoo was trying everything. Bro was throwing multiple strikes, but Igris had Ultra Instinct. But Jinwoo was finally able to land a hit, but it did no damage. Bro's armor parried it. Then he came down with his sword again, and this strike was so powerful, it sent him flying again. This man Jinwoo was lost, couldn't do nothing. He'd been fighting the motherfucker for 2 minutes and not even an inch of health is gone. So Jinwoo's blade could basically do nothing. These stats were not doing it. Bro was insanely underleveled. So Jinwoo decided, man, if the dagger ain't gonna do nothing, I might as well just throw hands. And Igris, being a gentleman, decided, "Oh, we throwing hands, huh? I like you, little nigga. All right, let's throw hands then." Bro was already winning the fight, but decided to come down to his level and throw hands with him.
That is such an insult and a flex at the same time, bro. Can you imagine somebody, like, if you pulled a gun out on them and you couldn't shoot them, and you ran out of ammo, and they had all the ammo left to finish you off, and they decide to put it down, like you ain't even worth the bullets. You gonna get these hands. You see how disrespectful that is? He could have easily took him out.
This man is a demon. And Eagles wasted no time. Bro stood there in ore farm for 2 seconds. Then boom! With the snap of a finger, plants this man in the ground. Punch was so fast, it was unreactable. And it didn't stop here. Bro picked him up and ragdolled him across the room. Then hawked him down to hit this boy with the humbling this man to a pope in the wall. And I tell you, boy, Jinwoo was trying his hardest, but he could not land a single hit. Egress had perfect defense. But while Jinwoo was getting ragdolled, he ended up finding an opening. And he ends up bicycle kicking this nigga in the neck. And he finally took some health off. But this kick enraged Egress.
Phase 2.
Fuck it and skipped
Phase
to his
2.
second phase. He started juggling and dribbling this man like a basketball. Look at this in slow motion. Uppercut to the gut, then to the back, while making him flip mid-punch. Then another 2-piece combo. Then he hits
Bounce
the
him off the
Dragon Ball
ground.
double hammer fist slam. Then sends him flying with the haymaker. And dog, at this point, it just looked like Eagles was playing with a new toy he got for Christmas. Bro was hitting him with.
Bro, Egress is literally the best character in the whole show. Like for season 1 and 2, bro.
The Broly drag, then threw him across the room again. And look how he just conveniently landed on the throne. Then this man Egress walked up to him like,
"Come on, bitch ass nigga. Show me that you worthy of this throne. Or sit here and die like a bitch."
So Egress uses the force to call his greatsword and swings.
That was so tight, dude. That shit was so tight. When he caught that, bro. Oh my God, bro. Aura. Straight aura.
At Jinwoo. But Jinwoo enhanced his body to catch the sword, then summons his dagger and stabs him in the eye, finally doing some damage to this man.
And
this
to me,
is
that
when
made no
Jinwoo
sense.
just
How did he
awoke
catch
that
that,
dog
man?
in him. He ended up pushing bro all the way into the wall, summoned his dagger again, then shoved it in this man's throat and said, "Nah, I'm not done yet." He starts shoving that motherfucker in there deep. Pause. But look at this. Bro started tweaking so hard the animation changed. Then he shoved it in his throat again. Pause. But dog, this insane lock-in moment by Jinwoo gave him the upper hand in slaying a Souls boss.
That made no
Not gonna
sense,
lie,
man.
insane work. Nigga beat a
Lucky.
Souls boss IRL and on the first try too. Well, I mean, to be fair, if this is IRL, you only do get one try, but bro proved that he was Himothy just for 5 minutes later to get jumped by 1,000 other dead homies. Not gonna lie, that's some nasty work. Y'all ain't even let the nigga heal. The Jinwoo trials.
And then he glowed up.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of just trial 1, this man got 7 bodies, 1 count of animal abuse, 1 count of watching somebody getting their ass beat when you should be helping them, killing a Cerberus, and defeating a Souls boss. Not gonna lie, them some impressive stats for just 1 trial. And we still got exhibit C, D, and E to go in trial 2. So, will Jinwoo make the round table? Will this stat line get
Yes.
even more ridiculous?
He will.
Spoiler. Yes.
That ass you will. W video. Dude, CJ never lets down. Always a banger, bro. His edits, the fact that he had to do the previous video twice. It's true. It's true. Steelers backstory is so tragic, you would think Oda wrote this shit. That's true, bro. Alright. Alright, that's all for today, y'all. Tonight. Stream long enough. Short stream. I'm out. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.